All right, so these dumbass deputies assumed, obviously, that a group of college students who are on the lacrosse team coming from a tournament in Florida, driving through the state of Georgia, they were obviously trafficking narcotics. We're gonna find some narcotics here. Who in the hell would assume that college students are trafficking narcotics from Florida to Georgia back to their school in Delaware? All right, let's put up a picture of the sheriff of Liberty County, the guy in charge of those deputies. There he is. His name is Sheriff William Bowman. All right. Delaware State University's women's lacrosse team was heading home from a game in Florida when deputies pulled over their bus. Liberty County Sheriff William Bowman said the bus was traveling in the left-hand lane on the interstate illegally. All right, traffic citation. That's what that means. You write a ticket, you keep it moving. He said his deputies had been working on the interstate all morning when they pulled over the bus, and the on-site K9 detected something in the compartment under the bus. Okay, so that's what they're standing behind. Oh, it was the K9. The K9 detected something. Who brought the K9 to the bus? Oh, okay, there's more. But the team, mostly comprised of African Americans, felt the situation was racially motivated. Delaware State's president said law enforcement attempted to intimidate the student athletes. Let's put up a picture of Dr. Tony Allen. He's the president of Delaware State University. There's Dr. Allen. Dr. Allen is furious. The Attorney General of Delaware has now gotten involved. Let's put up a picture of the AG of Delaware. Delaware's Attorney General is calling on a federal investigation to investigate this incident. What's the word from the federal government? Nothing, not a damn thing. The DOJ is not responding whatsoever. Sheriff Bowman held a press conference. Now I want you to understand the insanity of this. The sheriff held a press conference on Tuesday to discuss the traffic stop, but left without taking questions from the media. But he sat down for an interview Wednesday morning to share his thoughts on the national spotlight being put on Liberty County. Sheriff Bowman said the K9 hit on the front part of the vehicle in an under the bus compartment, which is nothing unusual, he said. If a dog hits on a vehicle, then we'll search it. That's common practice throughout the United States. There's more. Nothing was found in the search, something the sheriff said is not unusual. Sometimes it happens, Sheriff Bowman said, adding, there's no definite timeline how long the odor will stay in the air, but the dog will catch that. Not saying something was there then, but it could have been there previously. There's more silliness. The reporter said, did your deputies do anything wrong? Sheriff said, no, but we could have done things a lot better. And we would like to get more feedback from the university and talk to the students, Sheriff Bowman said. There's a lot of things going on in our country that a lot of people consider to be racial. But here in Liberty County, that is something we do not practice. I do not allow it, and I will not let it happen. Okay. The sheriff in that same press conference said that he's launching a probe, an investigation into the conduct of his deputies. He said that during the press conference. And in the same press conference, he concluded that none of this was racially motivated. Wait a minute, Sheriff. I thought that's what the probe was for. I thought that's why you're launching the investigation in order to find out if it was in fact racially motivated. So literally you have an executive in law enforcement showing you the sham of the investigation. Literally coming up with the probe, oh, we're going to do the right thing here. and the conclusion in the exact same press conference. Some have questioned the motivation, the reporter asked, behind searching a graduation gift. Can you explain? There's a graduation gift that was heavily searched. The reporter said, can you explain this? The sheriff said, well, I cannot think about what the deputy was thinking at that time. But my initial, when I looked at it, I didn't know exactly what it was either, the sheriff said. Let's put up the picture of the sheriff again. Now, sir, it's obvious to me, you don't run a damn thing but your mouth. They run you. While Liberty County has a significant African-American population, they have an African-American sheriff. According to the county commissioners I spoke to this morning, the power structure is still white. He is handpicked by that same power structure, according to the commissioners that oversee that office, who wish to remain anonymous. But if you did a search of my, social media, you can probably find out what commissioners are for this guy and which ones are not. All right, so the good sheriff there, he wants to talk to the university students. He wants to have a powwow. Now, I want you to understand how this insanity is unfolding. He wants to talk to the students, okay? He wants to talk to the university students who were harassed by his deputies. Did he say that he needs to have a conversation with his deputies? Did he say that his deputies need to be disciplined? He admitted his deputies were wrong. He admitted that these kids did nothing wrong. He admitted that there was no drug, there were no drugs nor drug paraphernalia. He admitted to this. So let me get this right, Sheriff. You need to have a conversation with the students who were harassed, but you don't need to have a conversation with your deputies who did the harassing. Yasmin, thoughts here?
For all of the rhetoric that we've been hearing around freedoms and Americans and all this stuff, I mean, we are not far from a police state here. And I wanted to touch on the last point that you just made. Why is he talking to the students? They did nothing wrong, right? They weren't driving the bus. If this was just a regular traffic stop, which is what it started off as, the students are the ones to blame, right? I don't really know why they got on the bus. They said the dog found something, but then they didn't find anything after they harassed this entire bus full of students. And that's the other thing. These are students, these are university students, and they're athletes, right? These people are not the ones to bring drug paraphernalia on a bus, especially going across state lines, especially when they're on a school field trip, basically, right? Not a field trip, but an athletic thing. These are not the people that you need to be worried about. The cops are the ones who overstep their boundaries. And I think they knew that. And the sheriff needs to acknowledge that, and he needs to talk to his own deputies. And the other thing, I think with cops, the thing that rubs so many people the wrong way about them is their condescension, the way that they talk to people, right? Everything that the cop was saying when he was talking to the students on the bus was super irritating for me, and I have an attitude problem, so it's very hard for me to not talk back to people like that when they're talking to me one way. But in a situation like that, there's really very little that you can do or even say against the cop, especially when they have a gun in their pocket or on their holster, wherever they keep it, right? So a lot of these cops, they get all of their authority from that gun in their holster, right? Otherwise, don't talk to me that way. That's it. They don't really have any authority beyond the fact that they can kill you and they can hurt you and they can throw you in jail or they could frame you even, which is something that happens way more often than is talked about.
That's right. That's right. All right, we're gonna continue to follow this story. As I said, the Attorney General of Delaware has reviewed the video. She is convinced that the police need to be investigated, the deputies need to be investigated by the federal government. Her name is Jennings, so we're gonna see what happens with that referral to the Department of Justice.